Okay, in this demo, we're going to take a look at using a view model locator to wire up our view and view model in a view first way. Starting point for this demo is basically where we were with the static hookup in XAML and code behind. If we go into our customer's view, we can see that the XAML hookup is commented out, which we did at the end of our first demo in this module, but the wire up in the code behind is still there. So I'm going to remove that or comment it out as well. And now we need to define a viewModelLocator class. So I'll go ahead and add a class called viewModelLocator. I'll make it a public static class because for this demo it's only going to contain a single attached property. We'll call that attached property AutoWireViewModel, and I'll use the prop A code snippet in Visual Studio to stub it out. Its type will be Boolean, and it's contained within the viewModelLocator class. And the default will be false. Now I just need to resolve dependency object. And now you can see a basic attached property definition named AutoWireViewModel of type Boolean. Now what we're going to do is turn this into a simple behavior. And we do that by wiring up a change event handler for the property. For that we go into the metadata and add a handler. We'll call it AutoWireViewModelChanged. I'll stub that out. And basically what we want to do in here is automate that process of figuring out what view model to create and wiring it up to the view. So the first thing we'll do is put a guard condition in here similar to the one we discussed in the view model earlier in the module. So this just checks whether we're running in the designer, and if so, does nothing. Next we need to get the view type name, which we can do with a couple lines of code. The first one takes the D argument that's coming into the change handler, which will be the element on which this attached property is being set. We're expecting that this attached property will only be used on the root element of a view, so by getting the type of that root element, we know what the view type is. Then we can get the type name from the full name property of the type object. Next, from the view type, we can infer a view model type, as long as we're following a standard convention. And as you've seen so far, the view models for me are always side by side with the views, and they're inside of a feature folder or in some common folder together. So all we need to do is append model onto the view type name, and we have the type name of the view model. So with this code here, we can take the view type name, append model to it, that gives us our view model type name, and then we do a get type on that to get the actual type object for our view model. Now all we have to do is create an instance of that type, which we can do with the activator createInstance method, and now we have our view model instance. And the last step of the process is to set it as the data context of the view, which we can do like so. Now our simple view model locator is done, and we just need to use it to wire up our view and view model. So let's go take a look at what that looks like. If I drop over here to my view, first thing I need to do is add a namespace so that we can get to that view model locator type in the root of our project. Then on my root element, which is my view type, I go ahead and add our AutoWireViewModel property. And just by doing that now, our viewModelLocator will kick in as that property is being set and will take care of the wiring for us. Now a key thing to notice about this is the view is no longer coupled in any way to what the type of its view model is or how it gets constructed. That's all been moved out to that central location inside the viewModelLocator. So now not only does the view model not know exactly what type it's married up to, the view doesn't know what it's married to in terms of a view model, which gives you even better decoupling. The other nice thing about this is it means you do the exact same thing in every view you want to hook up to its view model. You just put this attached property, and by convention it finds the right view model for you. To emphasize that, let's go ahead and add another view and view model. I'll go into the customers folder and add a customer detail view and its corresponding view model. I'll add a constructor to this view model so that we can set a breakpoint and see that it is being called. And then we'll drop back into the view and use the AutoWireViewModel property. So again, we just need the local namespace and add the AutoWireViewModel property. Set to true. Now we just need an instance of this to be created as well. So let's go into the main window. I'll go into the designer and just make some room for this new view down below. We'll go to the toolbox and drag an instance of it down there. Doesn't really matter how I size it since it's not actually showing anything yet. And now if I go ahead and start up, you can see that we are hitting the constructor in our new view model because it was auto-wired up. And our previous view is getting its view model data. So it's all wired up as well. So the advantages here of a view model locator is one, it makes it a standard declaration in every view. The view is not coupled to its particular view model type other than through the conventions of the view model locator. And if that view model locator is written in a flexible way to be able to override those conventions and also possibly do something like use a container internally to construct the view model, it can do dependency injection in that process. We'll see an example of that later when we get to the Prism framework that has a view model locator in it.